All right, today we are ripping into a top 8 list, but not the tired same old countdown you've seen 100 times. I shuffled everything, changed the angle, and I'm talking about what actually matters on the range and in the real world. Controllability, ergonomics, why you keep reaching for the gun after the shoot, not just how it looks on paper. I'm not selling hype or specs for clicks. I want to show you practical trade-offs, the stuff you notice after an hour on the trigger, and the mistakes most people make when picking a carry or a defensive shotgun or a daily revolver. Expect honest takes on shootability, maintenance headaches, and the little design choices that make some guns feel like tools and others feel like toys. I'll call out where certain models shine and where they quietly fail, and I'll give you real, usable advice. What to train, what to avoid, and what to buy if your priorities are reliability and fast follow-up shots. This is not a brand cheerleader list. It's a shooter's checklist, shuffled and focused, so you can make a smarter choice. Ready? Let's roll into number 8. Number 8. Ruger GP100. This one feels like a little tank in your hand, and that's the whole point. A GP100 built for .357 Magnum eats hot rounds and keeps running. And what matters here is control more than cosmetics. The heft tames recoil and makes follow-up shots hit more often than with lighter wheel guns. The double action pull is deliberate, so work it with slow, controlled strings until your muscle memory trusts the trigger. Then practice single action for precise pairs and headshots on steel. Don't sleep on ammo selection. Run plenty of 38 special practice loads for volume work, then use .357 Magnum duty rounds to learn the real recoil impulse and how your sights move between shots. Swap the front sight to a high visibility or fiber optic if you want faster acquisition. And pick a modern rubber grip over thin wood if rapid recovery is your priority. Maintenance is simple but important. Keep the forcing, cone, and cylinder throat clean and give the timing a quick check every few thousand rounds. It's heavy to carry all day and not a pocket gun. But if you want a durable, hard-working revolver that forgives hard use and rewards proper trigger work, the GP100 is a practical, shooter-friendly tool. Number 7. Beretta 686. This is a classic over and under that feels like it was carved for the shoulder, not the shelf. The 686 is about balance and timing. When the swing and the bead meet, the gun simply disappears and the shot breaks clean. Focus on fit first. A stock that points naturally will shave half your misses without changing your technique, so try different comb heights and lengths of pull before you commit. Barrel length and choke choice matter depending on your game. Longer barrels and tighter chokes hold on for clay targets at distance, while a more open choke and shorter barrel make for quicker handling on upland birds. Pay attention to barrel regulation and hinge wear. A well-regulated 686 will stack pellets tight on the pattern and stay predictable shot to shot. But regulation drift shows up if the top rib loosens or the hinge gets sloppy. Recoil is polite for a 12 or 20 gauge, but still tames with a properly fitted pad and good mounting technique. Learn to keep your head forward and let the stock ride rather than snatching the comb off your cheek. For maintenance, keep the locking surfaces clean and lightly lubricated, and check the monoblock for signs of corrosion if you shoot a lot of corrosive loads. This isn't a tactical tool, it's a shooter's tool, built for rhythm, for the sort of follow-through that wins days on the range or birds in the field. Number 6. Colt 1911 Series 70. This is the steel frame pistol that taught a lot of shooters how a good trigger actually feels. A properly tuned 1911 with a short, crisp, single action lets you stack precise follow-ups in ways most striker guns struggle to match. If you're running 45 ACP, respect the recoil impulse. It's a soft push, but it moves the sights. So work recovery drills that force you to control the reset, rather than chase the front sight. The Series 70 is prized because its trigger comes from a simple, mechanical design that you can learn to love. Light take-up, a distinct wall, and a clean break. That means fundamentals matter more than any gimmick. Grip pressure, finger placement, and sight alignment will make or break your strings. Fit and ergonomics are huge here. A thin factory grip feels traditional. but swapping to a slightly thicker textured panel can convert an otherwise twitchy pistol into something you can rapidly press into service. Likewise, adjustable rear sights or a high-visibility front will speed target acquisition in stressed scenarios. Magazine capacity is an old-school trade-off. You get fewer rounds than modern compacts, but you get controllability and a trigger that rewards precision. For carry, consider holster and retention early. The 1911 prints differently and needs a holster that secures the long slide without slowing your draw. Maintenance and reliability are straightforward if you respect headspace and feed geometry. Keep the feed ramp polished to match your ammunition, and check the extractor and firing pin channel when you're breaking the gun down after heavy use. If you shoot a mix of cast lead and jacketed 45 ACP, inspect the barrel throat and timing more often than you would with a polymer striker gun. In short, the Colt 1911 Series 70 is a shooter's pistol. It rewards training, hands-on setup, and respect for the basics. If you want a gun that teaches proper trigger discipline and gives you surgical control at moderate distances, this is a classic that still earns its place on the line. Number 5. Mossberg 590. The 590 is a workhorse pump that you can trust to run when everything else gets fussy. In 12-gauge trim, it's unapologetically direct. The action is simple, the controls are obvious, and that means fewer operator errors when you need the gun to do the heavy lifting. What I care about with a pump is how quickly I can cycle rounds under stress and how predictable the recoil impulse is. The 590's beaver tail formed and familiar pump geometry let you ride the gun and get back on target faster than a lot of cheap, vague-handled imports. Capacity and magazine options depend on your mission, so decide early if you want tube-fed 6+1 for sporting use or an extended tube for duty work, and practice reload drills to make that tube system an advantage rather than a hindrance. Fit matters more than most people admit. A good pad and a well-matched stock length keep the recoil from stealing your cheek weld. Trigger feel on a pump is about the whole system, not a single component. Barrel harmonics, load choice, and your hold all affect how the shots recover. For defensive use, keep the sights simple and contrasty. Low-profile ghost rings are fast and forgiving, but a fiber optic front works fine too. Maintenance is easy but non-negotiable. Keep the action bar and slide rails clean and lightly lubricated, and swap out worn ejector springs before they throw you a surprise. Also, train in low light. Moving and shooting with a pump requires your support hand to never hesitate, and that comes from repetition with both slugs and birdshot, so you know exactly how the gun feels when the recoil kicks in. In short, if your priorities are reliability, simple maintenance, and a tool that responds predictably under stress, the Mossberg 590 is exactly that. It won't win any beauty contests, but it will earn your trust on the range and in a bad night when you need a gun that does its job without drama. Number 4. Sig Sauer P365. This little pistol changed the conversation about concealment because it actually shoots like a real gun instead of a novelty. In 9mm trim, the P365 gives you a compact footprint with a surprising capacity. That's the whole point. More rounds without a pocket full of compromises. What matters on this platform is ergonomics and trigger feel. The stock trigger is fine for carry, but a clean, short reset makes fast pairs and press checks much more reliable. So train on the factory trigger, and then decide if a lightning job is worth the trade-off. Grip angle and texture are the quiet winners here. A minimally aggressive texture keeps concealment friendly, while still giving you purchase for fast recoil management. Optics-ready models change the game for sight picture at distance. A small red dot will make follow-ups surgical, but you must practice dot transitions and get a holster that retains the pistol with the dot installed. Magazine choices matter too. Extended base plates give more purchase and slightly more capacity, but they change concealment. So run both flush and extended magazines in your draw and reload drills. Holster selection is non-negotiable. The P365 demands a tuckable, high-retention holster that stabilizes the muzzle and protects the optic if you go that route. For training, prioritize fast, dry draws from concealment, Then move to live fire, where you mix 10-yard presses and 10-yard emergency pairs to understand how quickly you can recover without losing sight picture. Maintenance is straightforward. Keep the slide rails clean. Use magazines that are well maintained and don't cheap out on springs, and inspect the extractor occasionally if you run varied ammo. If your mission is everyday, carry where concealment and capacity are king, the P365 is a practical, modern answer. Just give it honest training and the right holster. Number 3. Glock 19. This one is the practical middle ground for a reason. The Glock 19 balances size, capacity, and controllability in a way that keeps it useful from range day to duty belt. In 9mm, it's forgiving with a variety of loads, and what makes it work is predictable recoil impulse and a chassis that lets you train fast draws and reloads without fighting the gun. Don't get hung up on the polymer frame stigma. A proper grip angle and the right back strap give you purchase for fast follow-ups. And once you learn the trigger press, the Glock's consistent reset becomes an asset for strings under time. Holster selection matters more than you think. An ill-fitting holster ruins every advantage here, so choose one that keeps the muzzle stable and the retention consistent during movement. On sights and optics, a small red dot on a cut slide turns the 19 into a surgical tool at speed, but it changes your draw and concealment profile, so practice with the dot installed and use a holster that protects it. Magazine management is a hidden skill with the Glock platform. Run magazines you trust, train reloads from a seated and supine position, and practice immediate action drills until clearing malfunctions is second nature. Maintenance is straightforward. Keep the rails and feed ramp clean, and don't neglect magazine springs. If you want a do-everything gun that teaches fundamentals, gets out of the way, and lets you stack practical skills without drama, the Glock 19 is the baseline a lot of shooters build from. Number 2. Remington 870. The Remington 870 is the pump that taught generations how to run shotgun drills. It's simple, robust, and brutally honest. You do the work, and the gun rewards consistency. What I look for in a pump is ergonomics of the forend and the feel of the action under stress. The 870's geometry makes fast cycling intuitive once your support hand learns the stroke. That means smooth reloads, reliable chambering, and predictable follow-through with both birdshot and slugs. If you plan on home defense training, run the same drills with both light and heavy loads, so you understand how recoil affects sight picture and recovery. Tube capacity is a design constraint and a training opportunity. Practice reloads that work with the tube, and make sure you can top off safely under time. For defensive setups, a shorter barrel and a good recoil pad keep the gun controllable, while longer barrels and tighter chokes make it useful for sporting work. Maintenance is minimal but critical. Keep the action rails clean, change the extractor and ejector springs when they show wear, and inspect the magazine tube and follower for dents or peening. The 870 won't hide its flaws, and it won't pretend to be anything other than reliable. Train to its strengths, and it'll be the tool you trust when simple mechanics beat complexity. Number 1. Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. At the top of this list sits a carry gun that earned its place by solving the everyday trade-offs: size, shootability, and capacity in a single compact package. The M&P Shield in 9mm or 380 ACP is built for people who actually carry, and what separates a shield from many compacts is how quickly an average shooter can make hits with it. It's small, yes, but it's not a compromise to the point of unusability. Work your draw from concealment until the motion is flat and repeatable. Then layer in reloads and malfunction drills until they become automatic. Grip texture and mag extensions change the character of the shield more than most upgrades do. A thin, flush magazine helps concealment but costs purchase. So practice with both flush and extended mags until you know which one your body prefers under stress. Sights are another quick win. Swap to a high-visibility front or a low-profile 3-dot set, and you'll see faster initial acquisition in poor light. For maintenance, be religious about magazine care and cleaning the feed ramp. Small pistols are less forgiving of dirty magazines. If your mission is daily carry, where concealment and reliability are non-negotiable, the M&P Shield is a pragmatic, well-balanced choice. Train it like a primary, not a backup, and it will serve you better than any pocket hope. That wraps up this run. But let's be real. The list doesn't end here. Every shooter's got their own setup, their own go-to that feels like an extension of the hand. So, tell me what's missing. Which gun do you trust when it's time to get serious? Drop it in the comments. I read every one of them. And the best picks might make it into the next range test. We've got more field runs, more head-to-head matchups, and a few surprises lined up. So, if you want to stay ahead of the curve, don't just scroll past. Hit that like button, subscribe, and keep your notifications on. Make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Stay sharp.